Hi, William Huyn here for a new Discord poll discussion. This time it's all about indie games. What is your definition of an indie game? What's your favorite indie game? What made you like it so much? What's your least favorite? Most hated indie game? What flaw did it have? What did you not like it? What did you not like about it? Man, it's Saturday night and it shows. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? How would it be? What will be its inspiration and what elements will it take from other games, if any? And why should this server be taken over by Ishan Royce? Alright, so for those of you unaware, I have a Discord server. And once in a while we're doing those Discord poll discussions. So usually it's Ishan coming up with a poll and then people talk about it and then I make a video and riff and raff about everybody's answer about the poll. It doesn't make that much sense, does it? But let's go to the answer. This is a subject I'm really much into. Indie games are my favorite type of games, and so I'm quite happy to talk about it. So let's go. Let's look at the first answer we got. So first we have Jackson saying, "All about indie game. What is your definition of an indie game?" It really bothers me that there's a typo in my poll. But anyway. He's saying, a game primarily developed in Indiana or India. What's your favorite indie game? Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Atlantis. What made you like it so much? It said Indiana in the name. What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? Garden Pause. What flaw did it have that you did not like? My wife played it too much and I lost valuable Switch access. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? I'm not sure. Probably a smart-ass hero destined to save the world from itself. My autobiography. How would it be? What will be its inspiration? I don't know. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan Roy? It shouldn't. He doesn't appreciate a good poutine. Oh, that's a good one. I completely agree with that. Poutine is fantastic. Yeah. But it's one of those things that if you know, you know. If you never had a poutine before, it might look quite bad, but I swear it's pretty good. Alright, thanks for the answers about the indie game. Now we have Impulsive saying, what is your definition of an indie game? A game that needs more cowbell. What's your favorite indie game? Portal? What made you like it so much? Cake? What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? Portal? What flaw did it have? Too much cake. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? A game about bards for bards and about bards. I suppose Imp really likes bards. Hey Imp, if you're listening to this, have you played Baldur's Gate 3? I've heard it's pretty amazing, and there's bards in the game. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? Moo. No mooing here, Imp. You know this. Yeah. There's gonna be consequences. Alright, thanks for answering though. Alright, then we have Mike saving the day with the first real answer to the poll. What is your definition of an indie game? A game created by a small non-corporate studio. Bingo! We have a winner here. What's your favorite indie game? Probably Bastion by Supergiant Games, though Dungeon Village by Kairosoft and Cat Quest by the Gentle Bros are right up there too. So, I don't know about Dungeon Village, now I'm gonna look into it, but I very much know about Cat Quest and Bastion. Bastion is probably in my top 10 games of all time. This is a game that has it all. If you have not played Bastion, it's available on pretty much everything. And it's pretty cheap too. So do yourself a favor and go play Bastion. It has the graphic, it has the music, it has, in my opinion, the story, and there's a narrator, that is narrating, of course, all of the game, and he's telling the story while you play it. It's incredible. The gameplay is good. It's like an action game. Action. Could this be like action RPG, because you can upgrade some of your stuff? But it plays good. It sounds good. It looks good. Bastion has it all. It is one of those top tier game. Very good pick. What made you like it so much? The gameplay is good, the plot is great, building your character's tool and town are interesting, and the soundtrack is superb. Although a big thumbs down to time travel. There's always some issues with time travel. Steins Gate being my favorite show of all time makes me pretty open to time travel stuff. I don't mind it, but yeah, I understand your point. What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? Cube World by P. Chroma. I have no idea what that is. Gonna look it up. What flaw did it have? What did you not like about it? It went from a Zelda-like game in the beta to being a difficult game whose controls are bad and everything that you collect is reset from zone to zone. Sounds pretty meh. And I don't know when it was made, but after the Dark Souls craze, everything needed to be hard. Every new game after the success of Dark Souls needed to put on the cover art like the Dark Souls of platformers or the Dark Souls of cooking game. Everything went super hard in the hard stuff about games, so maybe it's what happened. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? Honestly, it turned out to be Torchlight 3, but good. A fun little action RPG, some base building, pets, fun world, but without all the bugs. Really, honestly, if I was doing it, it'd turn out way worse. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? I thought he had run of the place every night already. I thought that he had run of the place. Man, I don't get it. I'm sure you will comment on it and bring me back on track. I'm not too sure. But thanks a lot for answering the question with amazing answers. I like Jackson and Imp silly answers, but it's nice to have an answer about about indie games in the sense that we think about them, we'll say. Thanks a lot. It was fun. Alright, next we have DP Zippy saying, all about indie games. What is your definition of an indie game? Man, there's two typo actually in that sentence, because it's written, what in your definition is an indie game? Oh, well, this is alright. It was on me. What is... Anyway, let's move on. I class an indie game as a sole or small studio who have limited money, unlike AAA games who charge 70 quid for a bed full of bugs. Oh my god. Yeah, that's... It's crazy how I've played many indie games on day one without any major issues. There's always some bugs, there's always... Nowadays, there's always some fix that comes after a few days or a few weeks, but yeah, most indie games I've played, day one worked pretty damn good. So this is a shame. What's your favorite indie game? At the moment, Exiled Kingdoms. Oh, this is a very good one, and if you're playing on Android, which I think you are, it's pretty good because you have a bunch of updates, but unfortunately the dev abandoned the game on iOS because of some development issues with how iOS changed its way to develop games. At some point, I can't remember the story exactly, but iOS doesn't have any updates for this game, which is a shame because I've played it for a while and it's a very, very good one. Very good, very old school action RPG. What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? Vampire Survivors. What flaw did it have that you did not like about it? It's just a load of shit. If you're into that type of game, try Ultra Blade. I personally found it more interesting, but that's my personal opinion. Yeah, I tried Vampire Survivors because of all the craze, but it didn't do it for me at all. The Vampire Survivor like that I enjoyed was 20 Minutes Till Dawn, because you have a lot of agency on when you shoot your gun instead of just waiting for the auto attack to do its thing. It made a big difference for me. Anyway, if you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? How would it be? What will be its inspiration, etc. I would make some sort of RPG with retro or pixelated graphics. It would have to be swords and mages type game. I'm not a big fan of shooting somebody in the face. My GTA days are long gone. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? If anything happened to you, William, you should leave this server to Ishan because he got scary animals in his basement and nice food in his kitchen. Most of the time, he is the first one to text or start a conversation, I think. Yes, you're right. If I were to make an RPG, I would include Ishan as a blacksmith, and he would have his own shop making armor but only green armor, or maybe a food store with green food, or even a pet store where a lost traveler could buy a crazy raccoon or a killer goldfish to help them on their adventure. Yeah, that was pretty good. Thanks for your answers, DP. Really appreciate it. Alright, next. Now we have Ishan saying, what about indie games? What is your definition of an indie game? A game made by a small dev team or a single person. Funding and the genre of the game is immaterial in this definition. Yeah, an indie game can be about anything, really. And the funding could come from, pretty much everywhere. I don't really care. It's made by a very small team or one person. This is my definition too. What's your favorite indie game? Villagers and Heroes. Definitely the best indie MMORPG out there. What made you like it so much? The story, the voice acting, the love and thought put into the game. I can go on, but I'd keep it to that for now. What's your least favorite indie game? Also, Villagers and Heroes. And why is that? Lag, unnecessary quest, time-barred quest, ones you have to wait for a few days to retry, even start, unnecessary convoluted mechanics, over harsh mechanics, being subjected lower level players, overpriced items in even zone. Alright, I can agree with a few things in that. Mostly the time-barred quests, or the medallion hunt. There's at some point in the game, for those who don't play Villagers and Heroes, there's some point in the game where you have to kill a specific type of monster to get some type of currency, and that currency is called medallions, to open the next zone. And it was made at a time where there was not that many zones to explore, so the devs had to try to, make it longer in each zones because people would have ran out of content, but now the game really have a lot of stuff in it, and I think it's completely useless to time gate people with the currency. I think it should be removed completely. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? Well, it will have to be a MMORPG, and it'll be like RuneScape, with a rich history but follow your own thing kind of a thing. PvP will be in select few zones plus area. Most of the game would be chill and fun. Game would be heavy on the lore. I like lore. Yeah, I like lore too. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? Because he's awesome, amazing, spectacular, incredible, mega, omega, ultimate, handsome, good, fantastic, funny, fun, interesting, chaotic, diabolical, kinda humble, proud, crazy, both good and bad, mad, likable, strong, pious, wonky, and a good friend. Also because the idea of Ishan owning a server is fun and wonky. Clearly the best answer. Yeah. Well, maybe it's just, it's just a suggestion, but I might remove humble from this paragraph, but maybe it's just me. All right, thanks Ishan for answering the poll. And now we have Kidsy saying, what in your definition is an indie game? I'm not sure. I had to look up the definition on Google just now. What's your favorite indie game? Minesweeper. That seems like it was built by a small team. I think you're, yes, I think you're right. Minesweeper would be an indie game in my opinion. What made you like it so much? I like strategy games that also don't need constant attention. Work on something and play at the same time. What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? Not sure, probably something with a bad and choppy graphics, so I never opened it. Or anything that has 1,000 ads. Yes, ads are making me pretty mad. Forced ads. Forced ads are unacceptable and should never ever be in games. This is absolutely crazy. I also really dislike games that advertise that they are a little strategy game, but really they are war games that let you do strategy puzzles sometime, but it was never the focus. Looking at you, Evoni. The only thing I remember about Evoni is I didn't play it, but I've seen like ads all over the internet a few years ago, and I remember the female character. I'll leave it at that. What flaw did it have that you did not like? See above. If you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? Oh man, this survey is longer than a poll. I'll have to come think on this and come back. Kidsy never came back. It's fine. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? I just got here, so I don't know, but really, should Ish take over a server? I feel like that would be the same as giving a child too much candy than letting them loose. I kind of agree with that. Thanks for answering, Kitsy. I appreciate that. Now we have Claudia saying, what in your definition is an indie game? Not sure. I don't play many indie games. Well, you're playing Villagers and Heroes, which is pretty much an indie game. What's your favorite indie game? Omori. It's a psychological horror game made by an indie game studio called Omocat. It definitely sounds like an indie game. The name is familiar, but I don't think I've played that. What made you like it so much? The number one reason I love it so much is the emotional backstory. I won't spoil the main details, but I will provide a quick summary of the beginning. White space is the first zone you'll enter in the game. It appears to one of the most blandest zones in the game, yet there is a distinguishing feature hanging right in the center of it. A dark and ominous light bulb. As you continue to play Omori, you get to explore a colorful world called Headspace. Except this world is not all what it seems to be, and there is evidence of a dark secret hidden. Now that I'm reading this, I think I know what Omori is. I'm gonna put some gameplay on the screen if I remember. And hopefully it won't be behind the text. Man, I will get pretty mad if it is. What's your least favorite, most hated indie game? I don't play many indie games. The one I picked is just one that I love and happen to remember that it was made by an indie studio. P.S. As Kidsy said above, I would also hate a game where it has bad graphics and poor story design. Yeah, I don't know what my least favorite indie game would be. I'm a strong advocate. Is that how you say? For indie games. I really like indie games. When I was looking at this thing, I thought about it, and I was trying to decide what my favorite indie game was, and it's incredibly hard. I think it's between Afterplace and Scourgebringer. Afterplace is quite a wholesome package, and what really draws me to that game is the interaction with the NPC. The story is super good, the music is good, it looks great, it plays nice, but it's really how you interact with the NPC. The dialogues are what really keeps me engaged with Afterplace. And Scourgebringer, it's all about the movement, it's all about how fun it is to press the buttons, and the music is quite amazing too. It's one of the only game soundtrack I'm listening like on the bus. But yeah, it's between those two. And as for the least favorite, when I don't like a game, I tend to just not play it and kind of forget about it. I don't have a lot of names to drop here. Anyway, if you were to make your own indie game, what would it be about? I think it would have mainly many similar world-building elements that Omori has. Open forest, starry night, galactic universe, and my personal favorite, a rose garden with dramatic flair. I would also... Hey, have you read the Dark Tower from Stephen King? Just because of the rose garden. I would also include characters that have very in-depth meanings and where the player can relate to those story experiences that the characters go through. Why should this server be taken over by Ishan? This server should not be taken over by Ish because chaos. Thanks for your time. Well, thanks a bunch for answering the poll. Thanks to everybody. It was a lot of fun to read. Hope you've enjoyed the indie game Discord poll discussion, and yeah, have a great rest of your day/night. If you're not a member of my Discord channel, you know, I have two questions. First, how did you stumble on this video? And two, why won't you join the Discord channel? You should come talk with us. We talk every day on the Discord. There's lively discussions. It's pretty fun. Link is in the description to join the Discord channel. So anyway, thanks a bunch for watching. Was a lot of fun. Talk to you again real soon. Bye bye. Go play games now.